talk about the motivation for Colorado Plus, because it's a product that has really stood the test of time. What needs did you see? What was happening that you said, you thought, there's a real need for something like this?
Well, I guess it goes down to one simple fact, and that is anything works better when it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to get involved with studying a lot of the health pioneers, we called them, in the 60s and 70s, like Bernard Jensen and Norman Walker and Salem Kurban and different ones. And they really focused in on what they called colon cleansing. They said good health begins in a healthy bowel. And if you are toxic, especially if your bowel is sluggish or has accumulated lots of mucus and crustment and so on, you cannot be healthy. So I studied all of them, and I became very convinced it's very critical. But I felt like each one focused in on one particular area as though it were all-inclusive. And I thought, let's look at the whole body cleansing function.
Okay.
And that's how the Colorado was born, and encompasses 3 phases, not just getting rid of your cleaning your colon.
Okay. So share with us about those 3 phases, because I think that's really important. That's why it's called Colorado Plus.
Plus,
right?
yes,
Okay.
the plus was always an important part of it.
Yeah.
So first of all, I said to myself, if you're going to clean the sink drain, you want to first clean the sink.
Okay.
So in that sense of that analogy, I used the first phase, which is 7 days, and it includes 2 pouches of tablets and so on to be taken one morning and one evening. And that, in a sense, draws and brings the toxicity, the heavy metals, the pollution, and even giving the liver an activation, because the liver, of course, collects a lot of the heavy metals and the problems in your blood. Okay, so let's get that all down into the colon before we actually clean the colon itself.
Okay.
And so within that phase, besides withdrawing toxicity, metals, and all of the rest of it, we also have some compounds that loosen especially the mucus in the small intestine.
Okay.
And that is very important because digestion is very limited if there's a lot of mucus in the small intestine. And once we get it out of there, people will find much better absorption of the actual food, and many people eat less, and that's why often they gain, or they lose weight during that time. So that's the phase 1.
Okay, so that's the preparation phase.
That's what we call the preparation.
Right. And during that phase, those 7 days, people are eating normally.
Yes.
Right.
Hopefully that's a good normal. But anyway,
That's right.
normal, yes. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so, but they're not fasting or anything. They're taking the pouch of tablets in the morning and one in the evening.
Right, right.
And then the second phase.
The second phase then is the next 4 days, and that's the actual colon cleansing.
Okay.
And during that time, they also take 2 pouches of tablets per day, slightly different ingredients. And with it, they take 4 pouches of what I call Colorado powder,
Okay.
which is psyllium and clay compounded together. And that will loosen the accumulation of encrusted material in the bowel. And also, the clay compound has a capacity to hold on to heavy metals and toxicities, because even though we've got it out of the system down to the colon, we don't want it to be reabsorbed. And the psyllium has an effect of giving it all a smooth coating so it can all be passed through the body. During that phase, we prefer that they take only liquids,
Okay.
because we want the ingredients to work on what's accumulated in the body, not what we're eating at that particular time.
Okay.
If a person has a problem, they can modify that slightly, but the most effective is to simply do a juice diet during that time.
Okay. And during that time, so unsweetened juices, they drink herb teas and stuff?
Herb
Okay.
teas,
Yeah.
lots of water, juices.
Okay.
You know, it's not the most palatable thing in the whole world, but that's not the object. The object is to do the very best we can to get an effective removal of all of the accumulation. And hopefully by the second, third And fourth day, results can be rather interesting.
It can be a
We've
moving
had a lot
experience.
of stories through the years. I mean, everything from stuff that moves to things that you don't want to get anywhere close to.
Right. And the amazing thing is that comes from inside of
Right.
us,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. Some
Yeah.
people always think it must be in the product, but it's really not there. The product is simply moving it on.
Yeah. And so for people who have never done a fast, and that's a scary term for those 4 days, do they need to rearrange their entire schedule? Should they be concerned about feeling starving all the time?
No, no. The bulk of the product is quite filling, so that generally isn't a problem. And I use the term juice diet because some people don't like the idea of fasting.
Okay,
But,
yes.
that's a bit of a North American problem. In other parts of the world, fasting is very common, and it's actually very healthy.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that's the part that all of these pioneers focused on, just on that. That's what they call colon cleansing or detoxifying. So the plus was the part before,
Okay.
and then also the part afterward.
And that part afterwards is very important. I remember you always would stress
Yes,
that.
and that's what I call the restoration. Because obviously, if you scrub and do a real thorough cleaning, you're going to take some positive elements along with it, such as digestive enzymes and friendly bacteria and some other things that the body needs. So in effect, we want to, you might say, reseed the friendly bacteria, digestive enzymes, and bring everything up into real good order so that the body can then continue on in a good, healthy way.
Okay. And what about eating for that third phase?
That third phase, it's good to begin to reintroduce foods, preferably fresh vegetables and or lightly steamed and cooked and so on. And it's really a good time to begin a different and a better diet at that time. And also a lot of people find out that they end up not being so hungry anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hunger earlier was simply the fact that they're getting so little value out of the food. Now you're getting much more value out of your food, so you can train your body then to go on with less and end up with more value from that food.
Yeah, and that I often hear people who are so shocked about that after going, what happened to me? I don't need as much food. I feel full sooner. Yeah. So, Dad, who can benefit, and what were the needs that you saw at that time? You saw the need for cleansing. What kind of people would be candidates for doing a Colorado Plus?
Well, actually, everybody can certainly get value from it. But whenever a person would come to me or phone me and my office and say, I have this problem or that problem, almost inevitably I would say, okay, how about let's clean your body, let's clean your system, let's take the Colorado, and then after that, let's see what's left of your problem. And the amazing thing is, many times that problem began to recede and often it was gone. And I say the reason it was there before is because the body could not keep up. The immune system was overloaded fighting all the toxicity and all of the metals and chemicals and what have you, so that it couldn't take care of the weaker areas of the body. Clean that out, then the immune system is now free to focus on the real problems, and this is why many people have regained their health dramatically. I mean, we had stories.
Sure.
I still remember in Russia, where this has become huge now, a lady was telling us that she was writing her will, and it was actually had a hard time getting out of bed. And all she did was went through the Colorado several times, and she is now the senior fencing champion of the whole country. And she blames Colorado for it. So that was pretty dramatic.
No kidding. No kidding. So just removing that weight of toxicity, that auto-intoxication, and allowing the body to do what it was designed and created to do.
I coined a little word, I called it the environment as opposed to the environment.
Right.
We're all concerned about the environment around us, but the environment is really much more critical as far as our health. We can't do much about the environment around us, but we can about the environment.
Right.